So, once again, good morning and welcome to Sanctuary Gaming Club Online. My name is TJ, founder of Sanctuary Gaming Club, and I'm happy to have you here with us today. Love to know how your weekend's been, how's things been going. We're going to try to get into a traditional draft in Ravnica Allegiance here today. This will be our second draft that we're loading up onto YouTube here. Hopefully go a little bit better than last time. But nothing more to say. Let's go ahead and jump in the draft here today. Okay, so right off the bat, couple interesting choices. We got Nikia of the Old Ways. It's a 5 mana 5/5, so decent stat to cost ratio. Can't cast non-creature spells. So this is a huge thing to look out for when you're building a Nikia deck. While Nikia is out on the battlefield, you are not allowed to cast non-creature spells. You'll see a lot of people, especially if you're playing paper Magic, pay very close attention to this because your opponent often will try to get by on doing that. So huge drawback there. Definitely limits the number of removal cards that we can play, enchantment cards that we can play. But on the upside, whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. So we can double up our mana while Nikia is on the battlefield. So interesting pick here. Might wind up first picking that. Let's see. Pitiless Pontiff. We can pay 1 mana, sacrifice another creature. Pitiless Pontiff gains Death Touch and Indestructible until end of turn. So if we wanted to take this, we could make a bit of a sacrifice-focused deck going on. Looking, what else do we have here? We have a Rebel Belt Recluse. Probably not stronger than Nikia here. But it is a 6/5 for 5, and it has to attack each combat if able. But that's usually what you want to be doing when you have a 6/5 on the battlefield anyway. So if Nikia wasn't here, this guy wouldn't be too bad. Honestly, though, looking in this pack, I see a lot of white and blue creatures. So I think they're going to cycle back around. And we have this Law Mage's Binding, which is flash. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So there's definitely some good argument for taking Law Mage's Binding here, especially just seeing all the white and blue that we have in the pack, being able to have a strong piece of removal. We don't necessarily have to play Azorius if we do take it. Again, we can wind up in Simic, or we can wind up in Orzhov. A couple decent Orzhov cards in here as well. So as much as I would like to not wind up in Orzhov again, in Azorius again, Law Mage's Binding definitely seems like the great first pick. And of course, we can move off of that if we want to. Now, unfortunately, we got another great card here, but even more restrictive than Law Mage's Binding. It's Bedevil. For 2 black and a red, you can destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. So just 3 mana, outright destroy a creature. It's instant speed, which is amazing. But if we play this, we pretty much have to play black as our main. So let's see what else is in the pack here. We have an Azorius Knight Arbiter, pretty powerful card. 2/5 for 5, which the stats aren't great, but it has Vigilance, which means it can attack without tapping, and can't be blocked. So this is a great card, especially if you manage to pick up a High Alert later on, which lets your creatures do power equal or deal damage equal to their toughness rather than their power. So this guy, it turns this guy into an unblockable 5/5, which is pretty strong. See, Arrester's Admonition, 3 mana, return target creature to its owner's hand. If you cast this during your main phase, you get to draw a card. So 3 mana tempo spell that replaces itself, not bad. Thought Collapse, however, is typically pretty bad. 3 mana counter target spell. Its controller puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. I have seen some mill decks come out of sealed with this, but probably a little too weak to be playing here in standard. Let's see. Wilderness Reclamation. See a lot of play outside of sealed. or outside of draft in constructed formats. I'm not sure if that's what we want here. Let's see. Honestly, I think what we want to do is, especially these first couple picks, if I have to throw away our Law Mage's Binding, like, I'll do it. But I really think we should be picking the best card out of each pack to see what colors are open. And Bedevil is definitely the best card here. So we're going to pick the Bedevil and see what opens up for us. Well, what opens up is another Law Mage's Binding. And looking through this pack, I definitely think we're going to take that. It's just a strong piece of removal. I don't see any better cards here. Shout out to Mammoth Spider, that always does work. 3/5 for 5 with reach. Doesn't seem super impressive, but this card can shut down most flying decks if they don't have enough removal. So pretty powerful, but I like Law Mage's Binding better. Not going to throw away another one of those. Okay, what do we have here? I see I don't see much of anything, to be honest. Viscopa Vampire, 3/1 lifelink for 1. It's possible. It leaves us in black for if somehow we wound up back in Bedevil. That would be possible. But it does look like we might be in the wrong colors with Law Mage's Binding, which is unfortunate. Or this just might be a bad pack for us. Strongest card in the pack is probably this Rubble Belt Recluse here. Coral Commando, just a vanilla 3/2. Rakdos Guildgate could open up some playing some different colors for us. Honestly, we might wind up taking this Guildgate here. There's nothing that I feel like I won't get later in the set, and having these Guildgates opens up your splashing options later on. So I'm going to take this Guildgate. Hey, another pack that looks pretty similar to the one that we just had. Few of the same cards showing up again, actually. I see a Humongulus, Prowling. I see a Final Payment here. Another decent piece of removal. And in fact, we're actually going to take that. We can play Final Payment and Law Mage's Binding in the same deck if we wind up splashing blue. So not against that. We could start going for gate payoffs, seeing this here pretty early. Gate Colossus says, this spell costs 1 less for each gate you control. Gate Colossus can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, you may put Gate Colossus from your graveyard on top of your library. So if we were to take this, then we could start snapping up all the gates that we have, finding some place for some of these are good removal. Hopefully find a Gatebreaker Ram later on. Not against that. I think it's the strongest card in the deck so far. Now we have a choice of a direction though, because we could pick up this High Alert. I don't think we're going to get... We didn't take the Knight, the Azorius Knight Arbiter earlier on. I don't imagine that is going to come back around. So that's probably not the pick that we want. Knight of Sorrows, a 3/3 for 5 that can block an additional creature each combat and has Afterlife 1. It's possible. I think we're going to keep... we're going to make the safer play here and again take this Rakdos Guildgate. We might slowly be morphing into a gate deck here. What do we have? We have Knight of the Last Breath, a very expensive card. For 7 mana, you get to play a 4/4 with Afterlife 3. The Afterlife 3 is nice. For 3 mana, you get to sacrifice another non-token creature and create a 1/1 white-black spirit creature token with flying. Unfortunately, just not quite enough power for 7 mana. Western Zeal, Impassioned Order. This is a nice card if you wind up wanting a deck that can go long. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. This is particularly good with the other Afterlife of creatures. Slime Bind we can use to bind up the battlefield. As flat, it's an enchantment aura with flash. Enchanted creature gets -4/-0. couple interesting directions we could go here. I definitely don't think we want Knight of the Last Breath. It's just too expensive. We'll have this Gate Colossus to be our finisher here. So far, what we've taken, it looks like we are going to be primarily white, unless we can get these guild gates to start flowing and open up some different colors. So with that in mind, I think I actually want this Impassioned Orator. Okay, and now we have our beginning pack again. We can take Concordia's Pegasus is a 1/3 flyer for 2, so a decent size blocker. I've heard a couple of the pros say this card hasn't performed for them as well as they would like. Apparently the stats just don't line up as well in this set as you would like them to. Probably because there's just a decent number of creatures with 3 power rather than 2 power. It seems like there's been a design shift to focus on more 3 power, 2 toughness creatures. Seems to be the average a lot of times. So I don't know if we want the Pegasus, but I also don't know that there's anything better in the pack. So I've talked about how much I don't typically like Growth Spiral in these limited formats, besides, again, the amazing artwork here. So green and blue, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Again, if we wanted to focus on gate stuff, we might want to take Growth Spiral, but we just haven't taken any green cards yet. I don't feel too good about that. I think we're going to take the Concordia Pegasus here. Okay. Now we have Blood Mist Infiltrator. Whenever Blood Mist Infiltrator attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, Blood Mist Infiltrator can't be blocked this turn. Hazda Officer, when it enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +1/+1 till the end of turn. So neither of those are particularly good, but we're at the point where we might not get too many particularly goods anyway. Rakdos Trumpeter, if we wind up Rakdos needing those enablers is fine. 1/3 with Menace, so he can get in and he's not often blocked. And when he is, you can pay 4 to buff him up if you need to. What do we need here? Deck's going a couple different directions right now. I'm still waiting to see where it's going to land. I'm going to say since we're primarily white so far, we're going to take this Hazda Officer and see what continues to open up for us. Azorius Locket, giving us some more splash ability. I like that here. Vizkopa Vampire allows us to go a couple different directions, which is what our deck wants to do right now at the moment. We still got to settle down. Is Prowling Caracal more playable than Humongulus? Probably. I'm probably not going to be looking for a 2/5 hexproof, but I might need some just 2-drops to fill out my board, or fill out my deck, so we will take that. Do I want another one, or do I want a Thought Collapse? We're going to take a Thought Collapse, just in case I need a counterspell for some reason. This is actually a decent card to pick up last. It's a good sideboard card, destroy target artifact or enchantment and scry 1. So we'll put that away here, and then go into pack 2. Okay, so choices that we have here. Our rare isn't good. Each player discards all the cards in their hand and then creates that many 2/2 black zombie token creatures. Not something that we're looking to play. Enraged Ceratok is a decent enough 4/4, but we haven't taken anything resembling green yet, so I'm not sure that we want that. Get to the point. And destroy target creature, scry 1. Decent common removal here in black-red. It is 5 mana. I would rather... I would take Scorchmark before I took Get to the Point. Just 2 mana, deal 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. There is just a whole bunch of removal that we can take, but hopefully we need to start picking up some stuff that actually wins us the game before too long. So, since we remained primarily white, we wouldn't mind splashing red if we needed to. We could go black, white, and splash red. That might be the path that we wind up taking. So, taking Scorchmark keeps us available to do that at the moment. We're going to take this. Archway Angel. When Archway Angel enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each gate you control. So we are, I think, definitely taking that, and now we're very much incentivized to get into our gate payoffs. So let's try to make that happen. Gateway Sneak. Whenever it enters the battlefield, Gateway Sneak can't be blocked this turn. Whenever a gate enters the battlefield, Gateway Sneak can't be blocked this turn. Whenever Gateway Sneak deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So we'll take you. Skitter Eel, another decent creature here. We really do need to start taking some gates, though. I was hoping some would pop up in the colors that we wanted. We'll take this. If we can get a Gatebreaker Ram later on, we'll be very grateful for it. Kaya's Wrath. Destroy all creatures. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you controlled that were destroyed this way. Yes, please. It looks like our deck already has a ton of removal. We're going to really try to force the mana here and make it work. Gateway Plaza is a gateway to do that. So we're going to take Gateway Plaza here. Okay, no gates in this deck. So what else do we have? I wish there was an easier way to sort by color here. Let's put our cards with blue over here. I'm going to put our red cards. Just red and black. White and black, white and black. Nope. Right, there we go. Okay. Another final payment. So, again, another piece of removal here. I'm a little worried about having too many final payments, especially without having enough creatures. Here, Orzhov Enforcer, 1/2 with Death Touch and Afterlife 1. I think that's actually where we want to be for this pack. It's just a nice creature that replaces itself, can trade up with one of our opponent's creature, and enables our final payment that we already have already. It looks like we're going to be playing a bunch of black cards. We're going to take the Orzhov Guild Gate here. What else do we see? So out of this pack, I like, well, don't particularly like, but Sage Rose Savant. I don't think we want to play that. It looks like if we play blue, it'll be a light splash into blue for some of our removal, so we don't want something that's going to require us to come down early on it. So it looks like we might be primarily black, white, red, and maybe with our gates and stuff dipping into blue. So we're going to take Footlight Fiend here. Okay. I think Night of Sorrows works here. Sorry, my board is kind of a mess. I'm just trying to process a little bit of what we need to make everything work here. Maybe an Orzhov Locket here is not a bad idea. Okay, Arrestor Zeal. I don't think we want any of these blue cards. So we'll take Arrestor Zeal. Probably won't play it, but it's there. Orzhov Guildgate. Sure. Take Persistent Petitioners, mainly because I just want to have 4 of those Font of Agonies. Whenever you pay life, you may put that many blood counters on Font of Agonies. For 2 mana, remove 4 blood counters and destroy target creatures. So this is something we can do again and again, but I don't think that we have enough life-paying effects, so that's not something we're going to really deal with here. I have another Orzhov Guildgate, which is nice, another gate in our colors. Scorchmark, another piece of removal here, wouldn't be bad. Let's see. Right now I'm just debating between the Scorchmark or Carnage is actually pretty powerful here. This Carnival Carnage can deal deals 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker and 1 damage to that permanent's controller. Not too excited about that, but Carnage deals 3 damage to target opponent and that player discards 2 cards. So getting rid of 2 cards can be a powerful effect here. I'm not sure how heavily we want this, especially because I think we might end up just kind of splashing red. Honestly, I think I just want this Orzhov's Guildgate. I want our Archway Angel and our Gateway Colossus to be powerful here. Right now, I think the strategy of our deck is kind of to use our removal to draw out the long game, and then Archway Angel, again, gives us quite a bit of life when it comes in, and can bash through. And of course, we have our Gateway Colossus that can keep coming back for more. Blade Druggers. Resolute Watchdog is a 1/3 defender. We can pay 1, sacrifice it, and target creature you control gains indestructible till end of turn. So we could use this to protect one of our own creatures. But honestly, I like just taking the Azorius Gate here so that we can splash our Law Mage's Bindings. We already have a bunch of powerful removal. We just need to make sure we can play everything. A 3rd Law Mage's Binding. Ooh, Eyes Everywhere. I like Eyes Everywhere, but I don't think this is the deck for it. We're already playing a pretty slow deck. I don't know. It's hard to give up another Law Mage's Binding. I think we're gonna take this here. I have an Orzhov Locket. Now, honestly, I need some creatures to make sure I can play out on the battlefield. So I like taking this Imperious Oligarch here. That's fine. Works well with this final payment that we have. Cry of the Carnarium. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. We are almost a pretty dedicated control deck here. This does exile creatures, so any of our creatures... So Imperious Oligarch would die to it, and we wouldn't get the Afterlife trigger. This Copa dies to it. We still might just want it. I think we're turning into a very heavy gate control deck here. Okay. We have all of our picks of lockets and how many gates do we have that we'll probably be running? The Azorius, the Gateway Plaza, the Rakdos, the Orzhov. I don't think we're running the Gruul. So let's kick that to the side. Kick that. Kick that to the side. There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gates out of 10. It's pretty good. Syndicate Messenger. We might want to have, again, we do need some creatures, and Syndicate Messenger seems like a good one. 2/3 flyer that can block, and when it dies, it'll give us another. It'll replace itself. Seems good. Take you. Put you over here. Bring to trial. Exile target creature with power 4 or greater. I think we actually just want this Azorius Guildgate. Yeah, we just need to make sure we have enough to splash our blue. Late Dovin's Acuity. Spirit of the Spires, probably pretty good here. We have a couple creatures with Afterlife. It has flying. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+0. So helps to make some bulky flyers in the air. I don't really care about anything from this pack. Sure, we'll take a Viscopa Vampire, though we probably won't play it. Now do we want a Rakdos Locket? We have 1, 2, 3 sources of red, which is about all of the red that I need. We have 1, 2, 3 sources of blue. We might want 4. Take Fairy Duelist here. Probably not. We're not primarily blue. We don't want that. Concordia Pegasus. A little bit nicer now that we have Spirit of the Spires. Sure, we'll take another Concordia Pegasus. We have another Knight of Sorrows. We have an Orzhov Guildgate. Just keep taking these Orzhov Guildgates. Don't mind playing those. Nothing here is particularly good. I don't think we'll need another Orzhov Locket. We'll take Debtor's Transport for some reason if we need a bunch of creatures. Passionate Orator. I don't know, we don't have necessarily a ton of creatures, but we do have some good Afterlife creatures and some creatures that keep coming back. So we'll throw a Azorius Locket in our sideboard. Well, eventually we'll throw it in our sideboard. Okay, pretty interesting draft here. Now we have the hard part of getting down to what we want. Okay, how many cards? So right now, we just need to cut 4 cards. Not in love with Footlight Fiend. So we can probably cut that. We have these I don't think we need 2 Azorius Lockets. We might not even need 1 Azorius Locket. Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3 sources of blue. Probably want at least 4 because we're running Wall Mage's Binding and Gateway Sneak. We'll keep the Azorius Locket in. I don't think we need the Orzhov Locket because we have so many Orzhov Guildgates, and then our other Guildgates also. Rakdos gives us black. Gateway definitely gives us black. Do we need a random mountain? I probably don't need this mountain because I have 1, 2, 3 sources of red. I definitely want to play 17 lands. So if I took out the mountain, I would replace it with maybe another plains. And make sure I want to play all the creatures that I have. How many creatures do I have? We need to see if 15 creatures and some 1, 2. Counting how many have Afterlife. 3, 4. 4 of them have Afterlife, plus 1 of them is recurring. So Passionate Orator is probably going to do some work here. We have slightly below average number of creatures, but again, a lot of them just replace themselves. They keep coming back. So what do we need? We still need to cut 1 card. I'm not sure how I feel about Scorchmark, since our red is pretty lacking. Maybe I would have felt better if I had Get to the Point at this point, but I'm not terribly regretting it. So let's see, we have, how many gates do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10 gates. So that's plenty for our Archway Angel. How many sources of white do we have? We have 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we got 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11 sources of white, which is more than I normally have. And then black is our next highest, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7, 8. So we definitely need a bunch of black as well. We have 2, 5, 6, 8, 9 sources of black. That's pretty good. And then blue, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sources of blue for 4 cards. None of them are double blue though, so it's probably pretty good. And then we just have a light dip into red for Bedevil. Okay, so that's... I mean, we definitely have enough... Okay, so I don't think we need this mountain. We're getting rid of this mountain, because we only have 1 card that requires red, and so having 3 red sources is fine. With that in mind, what do we need more of? I think we need more... Oop, the opposite of that. We need more black cards. Just because we have a bunch of black cards that cost double black, I want to make sure that we can play those. Let's turn our filter off. Okay, so this is 40 cards. I have a fair enough curve here. Really hoping Kaya's Wrath gets to do some work here. Between Kaya's Wrath, Cry of the Carnarium, we should get some moderate sweeps with, and then be able to take over the game with our Gateway Angel, the Gate Colossus. Is the plan here. Let's go through our sideboard just to make sure there's nothing that we missed. So these are all our white cards. Arrestor Zeal are fine. We don't need a combat trick. We don't need the 3-1. This we're going to keep in sideboard in case our opponent just plays an artifact or an enchantment that we just can't deal with. Honestly, the enchantment that I'm like most afraid of is Eyes Everywhere, and we have blue, so that's nice. And then 2 lockets, so not feeling bad about that. Don't need any of these blue cards. Don't need any of these black cards. Debtor's Transport is the only thing that I might look in, but I really just don't think we need it. It's a little overcosted, and I don't think we're going to need more 1/1s. Red, Scorchmark is the only iffy thing, but I think red is our most... we're just dipping into red, so dipping into red to play Scorchmark doesn't seem necessary. And we didn't take any green cards. Okay. Well, let's see how this goes. Double check. 40, 40. We have 17 lands. 15 creatures. So, solid looking deck. Let's see what we can do with it.